Fake carrots. Fake fruit. Fake. Fake. Fake grapefruits. Fake. Liar! You liar!
Fake carrots, fake grapefruit, fake turkey, fake meat, fake Americans. Hey, folks, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. It is the Free-for-All Black Friday. And here we are. I want to welcome you. I know it's an odd starting time. It's kind of an odd day. It's the holiday season. I'm in an odd place. I am somewhere out there. And I plan on getting back, and we will have a full-blown normal Sunday Night Live. But for this Free-for-All Friday, and it's Black Friday, we're going to have a lot of fun. I'm going to take your questions throughout the show. It's not going to be my monologue and your questions. We're just going to mix it up. So get your questions in now. And by the way, we're live with everybody. This is not a preparedmind.club and subscribestar.com private Free-for-All Friday. It's everybody. It's a special edition. It's on sale now. Free-for-All Friday. So we're at 58. We're going higher as we confront the liars out there. And we'll see. You may want to text people. You may want to email them. You may want to call them on the phone. Hey, we're going live. We're live. Let's talk and get out here. We've got a lot of crap going on. I've got a ton of stories, but at this remote location, thankfully I have broadcast bandwidth, just like I did at the RMZ. But it's going to be a little tricky for me to get into my emails and such. So you guys, I'm going to hope that you want to take charge and you want to lead the show. There's a lot of news stories. I can flip over to my email, which will freeze the screen, and then I'll flip back and talk about what's going on. But what do you want to talk about? We got Ooman at the controls. We got Jolene floating around somewhere in the background. And folks, this is kind of like an SHTF Mad Max style. What would happen if everything was shut down? We are in odd places, and all of a sudden we're just stuck, and we get a little bit of communication. Can we coordinate? Can we talk to each other? Can we protect ourselves and protect one another? These little trips I take, that I try taking on weekends and especially on holidays, where I get out and get around the country, I like to think about what would happen if. What if I've got to walk all the way back to the bunker? Could I do it? Do I have enough ammunition? Do I have enough cash? Because, well, if I'm walking, if I'm stuck, if there's an EMP, if there's a roadblock, right? Tires get shot out. Who knows what? Do I have what it takes to make it? Right? Those are some of the questions I ask myself all the time as I travel about. Right? Do I have enough food? Do I have enough water? Do I have enough ammunition? Always a big question, right? When you're sitting there on your throne of ammo stuffed suitcases, you're like, I could shoot someone every 5 minutes for the rest of my life and not run out of ammo. But when you're on the road, how much do you carry? Just a question. How much do you carry? Right? And can you carry it all? Right? See, I've got concealed weapons permit across multiple states, so I can do what I want there. But maybe you can't. Maybe you're one of those people who haven't taken the time to go train and get your concealed license, or you don't think you should be carrying in a vehicle, or you think it's not needed, and then all of a sudden it's needed. Right? That's the big trick, is what happens when all of a sudden it's needed. Anyways, this is, like I said, this is a totally public, live broadcast. So Ooman is going to pick and choose. He's going to pick and choose. If there's super chats, he can throw those up there, of course. They would always get priority, but he's looking for good questions as we head off into this. Now, I'm going to head over and I'm going to grab my email that I want to talk about on this Free-for-All Black Friday to start off. And it is none other than Ice Tea, folks. Ice Tea. He claims that he lost He lost his he lost a role. He lost a movie position. He lost a movie part because he refused to get the jab. Have you guys watched this? I sure hope you have. I sure hope you've caught it. Right. Ah. I sure hope you caught it. Ice-T. He's on the run. There we go. Yeah. You didn't get the job. Basically, he said to everyone, fuck the jab and fuck you for wanting him to take it. What do you guys think of that? Right? Ice-T didn't sell out. He didn't say, well, I need a paycheck. I'm willing to take that shit. I mean, I don't know if the guy's rich or not. He is an actor, rapper. He's been in a lot of movies for decades now. Decades, folks. But I don't know. If he's still acting, I guess he needs the money. I guess if he still has his dignity, he doesn't need the money that bad. And I wonder if it comes down to that, right? When do we say enough of this bullshit and we decide to stand up for ourselves and keep our dignity? I wonder if that's lost on the world. And everyone's willing to be pushed around for $1. I don't know. No one's told me I have to get the vaccination or I'm done and I'm out. I guess if they do, then I'll be playing my own version of Ice-T and telling people to go fuck themselves. I really do like that, however. Come to think of it, I do like the idea of people standing up for themselves and saying, you know what, fuck it. I don't need their money. Anyways. There we go. Now I've got some more stuff. No. I tell you, there we go. Let's do this. There we are. All right, man. Let's start out with who wants to be first and step up. Who's got a question, a comment, something that's caught your eye, man? I know that you can star them, set them off to the side. And we're going to start with Remy Marsh, our good friend over in the Netherlands. And he said, energy companies pay users €400 in helicopter money. They got free money. Well, that's pretty interesting. Greenhouse farmers possibly shut down heating into their greenhouses. That's their glass houses. Oh, let's see, they've got some huge issues. We're getting colder, right? I mean, even where I'm at, I can feel the temperature. It's down into the 80s here in the south. Where is it? The high 70s? I don't know. But way up there in the Netherlands and Europe, they have to farm in greenhouses to have a longer growing season. And they're going to get shut down. Possible shutdowns. Do you know what that means, right? Well, it's what we've been talking about here for months and years, and that is food shortages and massive inflation. I think it is coming. It's coming. When I look at Europe and what they're doing over there, I just see us in America a year, 2 years, 3 years behind them, depending on the topic. Right? We have a constitution that provides us probably more protection than the European form of government, and they tend or seem to be far more socialist than we are. That is to say, the government is authoritarian. Well, that's what they got. And so that's what we're seeing. Government saying you can't farm anymore. You can't have dairies. No more farming. Well, that's where food comes from. And even if they do bugs, folks, even if the poor Europeans said, okay, yeah, we'll eat the bugs. Who's going to farm the bugs? I mean, honestly, for real, even bugs need something to eat. It's ridiculous. This whole notion that there's an unlimited supply of bugs, really, it's just unbelievable to me. It's dishonest. It's another level of dishonesty. And I think we're seeing that with all forms of government around the world. There's a level of dishonesty that I don't think people are ready to accept. Right? We're seeing, I mean, let me come back to America, levels of dishonesty. We've got Kevin McCarthy, who's a Republican. He's going to be in charge of the House of Representatives if he gets his way, if he becomes Speaker of the House. Right now, he's pretending to be conservative. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. We're going to investigate the Bidens, yada, yada. I don't buy that for a minute. Not that, I mean, he may have a hearing, but no one's going to jail. No one's going to be arrested. The really bad stuff will not be exposed. It's dishonest, but they're going to pretend like it's all we need to know. In Europe, they're telling the people, too bad. This is what you get. This is all we can do. And it's a lie. It's dishonest. That's not all they can do to fix things. I know what the solutions are to the problems that are out there, but they're being dishonest about it, and they're not fixing the problems. They're slow walking everything. It's because they want to punish the people of Europe, and they do, folks, here in America. They want to punish us as well. They want to take from us as well. So this whole idea of power, isn't it interesting? When we talk about power regarding electricity, it truly is power. It truly is power. Now, political power was different than electricity, but it's power nonetheless, right? If you have the power on your farm, in your house, if you have power in your car because you have fuel, you have the power to not need government, right? You are empowered. You can go where you want. You can travel. You can grow your own food. You can live comfortably. That's your power. What is the government doing? They're taking people's power away from them. They're making gas and fuel, energy, more expensive so people have less power for themselves. You see this correlation? They're trying to say carbon is evil. Well, carbon is our power. They're taking it away from us. Food, it takes carbon, it takes fuel to create food, to farm. And by taking that away from people, they take their power, and that power is the power to eat when they want and what they want. Now the government has supposedly the power to shut down farming, to tell you you're going to eat bugs and you'll like it. See the correlation between energy, as in fuels and electricity, and power. The power of the people. Our standard of living. Let's move on, if we shall. It's a great topic, but we've got a lot to visit. Let me take a look here at one that I want to discuss. All right, here we go. A Colorado teacher has decided to blame the shootings that have been going on in gay bars. He wants to blame that on the Republicans. I read that. I was shocked. I was disgusted that that's what they think. That's really what everything is Republicans' fault. Now, they're not getting much traction blaming Trump for anything. Right? It used to be all Trump, Trump, Trump. Have you noticed over the last few months, 6 months or so, the Democrats who want to blame everything on Trump, they continue to do so, but they've also been inserting the word Republicans time in, time again, more often, just plain old Republicans, like this clip.
There are public figures today, yesterday, and the day before predicting and all but calling for mass violence and rioting in the streets.
Obviously, Republicans, I think, are the biggest threat to democracy. We don't separate right-wing extremists and Republican Party anymore. Republicans, I think, are the biggest threat to democracy. We don't separate right-wing extremists and Republican Party anymore. Republicans are the biggest threat to democracy.
Okay, you see what we got there? Republicans. Now, left-wing lunatics, non-binaries, LGBTQI, X, Y, and Z, these people are becoming more and more radically violent, right? One of them was just arrested, a high-level politician in New England, one of the New England states, and he got arrested for stalking. We have these shootings. They're becoming violent, but it's incredible. Rather than say we've got a problem, and I say there's a big freaking problem with these people, they say, no, it's Republicans. We are the reason, folks, that they are losing their minds. Do you see where this is going? Okay, they want to come out of the closet, and in order to justify, right, being accepted as normal, they have to say, well, we're not just 1% or less of the population. No, they want to say, no, we're like 20 or 30% of the population. And so they came bursting out of the closet, telling us what we have to accept. Well, it's just gay marriage, and we'll stop there. No, it's not. They continue to push and push and push. And they want to be accepted as normal. And anything that goes wrong, they want to blame us for. It's because we made fun of them. It's because we scared them. It's because we are against them. It's because we use rhetoric to describe them. Because we describe them accurately. They are triggered. They lose their minds. That's what they're saying, folks. That their acts of violence are a result of our words. And remember, they say our words are violence because it affects them psychologically. That's right. They feel like they're being attacked and held back and put down. And so those are words of violence. And so they're responding violently. But how come they're attacking themselves and each other? Well, it's easy to see the armchair psychology at play over on the low IQ side of the political fence. You see, they're like, wow, you see, because you've hurt their feelings, they start hating themselves. And when they start hating themselves, then they start hurting themselves. And they slash themselves, and they dismember their own body parts and mutilate themselves. Then they commit suicide and they kill others. That's all your fault. It's all our fault as Republicans. It's all our fault. I find these people deplorable for making excuses for these people. Not every single LGB is out there committing acts of violence. I get it. Many of them don't. But why are we seeing such extremism when we're told, hey, it's the right-wing extremists out there, right? The right wing is extremists. No matter what, folks, it's our fault. I guess we just need to accept that. They can lie to us about food. They can lie to us about the energy problem. They can lie to us about Hunter Biden's laptop. They can lie to us about why people are being killed. They can lie to us about why the gas prices are up and why we need to kill carbon. They can lie to us about the environment. And it's all your fault, no matter what, right? The air is getting cleaner. Well, that causes more extreme climate change. In other words, the climate is changing and there's nothing we can do about it, good or bad. But it's still your fault. It's because you have freedoms and you're Republicans. It seems odd and strange, doesn't it? All right, man, let's change subjects back to what you guys want to talk about. What is it that you guys want to talk about? And we got MyFi. He says, it's Ice Cube. Did I say Ice Tea? It's Ice Cube. Well, I guess I got that all fucked up. I apologize, Mr. Cube. But I tell you what, folks, I like ice cubes in my iced tea. Man says, Ice Cube, iced tea, vanilla ice, all the same to me. I'll put up the correction. Thanks. And thank you, man, for your jocularity. You know what? Yeah, I think Ice-T is an actor also. Isn't it T? I could have fucking sworn it was Ice-T. Hold on one second. Fuck the jab and fuck you all wanting me to get it. That was the direct quote from Ice Cube, turned down a $9 million part. I'm going to guess that Ice Cube has fuck you money, and good for Ice Cube. Now, wasn't there an Iced Tea also who was a rapper? Or is that Vanilla Ice? I don't know. Anyways, very good. Man, if you've got a topic or a statement, comment, question, or something you've seen out there, there it is. It's Ron Stryker. And he says, hey, John, what's the word on diesel shortage and the rail strike? Well, we were supposed to have 17, 25, 40 days, 10 days left of diesel fuel left in the United States of America. I think what was interesting was the reaction that we all had to that. I find the most interesting. How can we run out of diesel fuel? Well, we can only run out if the powers that be allow us or force us to run out. I think we've made it past the 17 days. So what's the word on that? What's the deal with that? Is it socio-psychological conditioning? Right? Is it a live action game they're playing where they give us some news and then see how we react so that they can prepare for our reaction to more bad news like that? You know, we've gotten that several times, Ron. We've gotten the diesel fuel. It's going to be shut down. And everyone, well, we react to it. Do we not? They tell us we're going to run out of food in 45 days, 90 days, 120 days. We got 6 months of food. And then people react a certain way. Do you think the government is watching? Do you think certain bureaucratic agencies are curious? We've been told, well, prices are going up. We've got inflation. We've got hyperinflation. You can bet your ass that the government is not letting any crisis go to waste and that they're keeping a very close eye on what is being said and what the response is and who's saying it. You know, they keep telling us that we, the right wing, you and I, are the radicals, especially you, Ron Stryker. They're telling us that we're the bad guys, that we're the radicals, that we're violent, that we're full of hate. Right now, the rail strike, that one's been dragging on for a while also, has it not? You know, it's been out there. The rail strike. They've been threatening it. They've been saying they fixed it. Then they threaten it, and then they say they fixed it. Well, they haven't really fixed it. But they haven't gone on strike yet and shut the country down. How interesting would it be, folks, if we ran out of diesel, they shut down the rails, we had rolling blackouts across the country, all at the same time? That, to me, sounds like a formula for some serious SHTF Mad Max hotspots. I think the best way, if that happens, folks, if we get visited by the ghost of stupid politicians past on these items, you know, 1, 2, or 3 small things at a time. Well, they're not really small things. Running out of diesel is not a small thing. If you own a diesel truck or you make a living using diesel fuel, you know, having power go out is a small thing. Well, if you're comfortable and warm and you don't need a lot of electricity, but if you're up north and you need electricity, or you've got a company or a manufacturing facility and you need electricity, it becomes a big deal, right? Running out of food at the store is no big deal if you're sitting on 6 months worth of food that's stacked and stored up in your closet, in your garage, in your bunker, right? But for people who don't have more than 2 or 3 days worth of food, well, it's a bit of a different story. So I think that they're getting us ready, Ron. I think they're preparing us. Now, once again, is there a timeline? Holy shit, 10 days left of diesel fuel. Oh my God, 90 days of food left in the warehouses. Well, last time that happened, they just moved food from one set of warehouses to another and made sure that the warehouses in question were fine. But when they want an event to happen, it can happen because they make it happen, because they create the shortages, because they cause the power outages. I mean, look what they did in Europe. They caused massive riots and protests and strikes. They forced the farmers, literally, folks. What other choice did the farmers have when they said, you can't farm anymore? They said, fuck it, we're taking our tractors and we're going to go block the streets. We're going to blow shit all over the political buildings. You bet. Now, Did anyone twist their arms and make them do that? No. But the people who took away their right to farm, right, they created the situation whereby the reaction was massive protesting. All right, Ron, great question, great topics. And again, the answers, folks, are not the same for everyone. They aren't. The answers aren't the same for everyone. My answer and my solution for a problem is going to be different from yours. So think about where you're at, what your preps are, how things are going, etc. Right now, Uman says the 25 days was the reserve level still getting replenished. Will run out in 25 days if production stops completely. Lots of folks have been fear-porning the interpretation of that number. So basically what Uman is saying is, yeah, they're producing fuel and they're holding it at 25 days of fuel. Now, again, the number was, it's never been that low before, having that little amount of fuel in reserve. In other words, yeah, we could only go for 25 days if they shut all the diesel production down in the country. Right now they're producing. And they're not producing so much that they're taking that number back up, and they're not allowing it to fall down either. Now, let me ask you this. What would it take to cause them to stop producing? What is it that fuel refineries need to make oil into diesel? They need electricity. California is continuing to suffer rolling blackouts because of stupidity. So are other parts of the country. A couple of weeks ago, Jolene, you're okay, Jolene. You didn't miss it. I'm talking to the phone as if she's going to see that through a message. Okay. She'll be on in a minute with you there, Uman. If you would communicate with her via Signal. So yeah, this idea, what happens? If anything happens, it's going to be because they have caused it. The government, have caused it to happen. They want us to eat bugs. Well, let's take away their food. Let's stop farming. They want us to stop producing carbon in the atmosphere. So what's their solution? Take away your fuel. They want you to do as they say. They can't do that. So then they pass legislation and take away your rights. Okay, there you go. You guys are working at it. Let's do this. Let me see what I want to talk about. Okay, I'm going to do one more, then we'll let you guys pick some topics. Get this, folks. A researcher out there is claiming that all of the fear-mongering from the anti-vaxxers, all of the fear-mongering from us and all of our lies are what's actually causing people who have been vaccinated to have heart attacks. Did you know that? Let me go double check that story just one more time. That's right, blood clots and heart attacks. Vaccine-related injuries are not caused by the vaccines, but because of you talking negatively about vaccines. That seems to kind of mirror this idea that gay people are causing all of these acts, these leftists, these non-binaries, these other Democrat individuals and socialist-minded people. They're committing acts of violence against themselves and others in their own community because of Republicans. Well, a researcher is now stating that adverse vaccine effects and illnesses are caused by people who are spreading information, fear-mongering about the vaccines. I find that fascinating. Is this researcher an expert? Or is this researcher someone who went on the internet and did some research? Right? I guess in that case, I'm a researcher. You know, what is a doctor? Well, a doctor has a PhD. I guess they can also have an MD, a medical doctorate, but a PhD, right? Physician's doctorate, philosopher's doctorate. Right? Am I a physician? Am I a doctor? No, I can't make that claim. But am I an expert? Oh, I don't know if I can make that claim. Am I a researcher? Well, I mean, are we allowed to make these claims? But they will make the claims, folks. The mainstream media will get a researcher out there who says, that's right, it's the Republicans who are causing all this fear and hate and anger. It's Republicans and anti-vaxxers. Right. In fact, this was interesting. I had a person, a family member, tell me that anti-vaxxers are cult-like in the way they discuss vaccines. Okay, this guy is actually a conservative. I'm going to do that, a conservative, and he actually had that to say to me. He said, "You guys are you anti-vax types. You are in some kind of a cult." And I said, "That's interesting. A cult, huh? Let's see. Is it more like a cult to think what I think, or is it more cult-like to follow a mildly charismatic, very short little man who appears on TV and wants to scare people? He says one thing, then he changes his mind, then he goes back and forth. He flip-flops. He's been caught lying, and he is pushing people to take his Jim Jones juice, much like the cult leader of, Jim Jones had his cult. Drink the Jim Jones juice and die. Well, we have a new cult leader who has his own version of Jim Jones juice, and the people are dying. Anyways, it was a good conversation. Again, the idea isn't to shut down the discussion, but to allow the discussion to happen, to keep going. This guy actually said anti-vaxxers are cult-like. I said, there is no uniform cult leader out there. It's all of us. It is a loose network of freedom-loving people who don't want to be told what to do. In fact, you might make a claim that is anti-cult. Just like, I guess we're anti-vaxxers. Unbelievable that this guy said that. And then he said, well, and I said, there's one thing I know for sure. Because he tried saying, you know what the odds are of getting myocarditis? And he started giving me some numbers. And I said, well, I don't know about your numbers, but I do know that the odds are a hell of a lot lower if you don't take the vaccine of getting myocarditis, a stroke, blood clots, pericarditis, neurological disorders, and straight up kill you on the fucking spot heart attacks. That's what I do know. I know the odds are a lot lower if I don't take something that I don't need. And that pretty much ended that conversation with some laughs and chuckles. Anyways, I did enjoy that. Okay. Let's go back in with some of what you guys have on your side. Jolene, ooh man, what do we want to put up? Who has something to say? And we've got, I got to move in closer because I can't read. I'm not wearing my glasses. We got the Raiders and some numbers there. He says, hey, John, maybe one day you do an old format video where you're sitting outside in your chair with your coffee or whiskey and a cigar just for nostalgia. I tell you what, I think I can accommodate that. Now we've got, oh, I don't know what all that's about. Oh, we're changing formats, trying to get a bigger one. Thank you, Jolene. Yeah, I think this is good as it gets. I think I can do that. I need to go find a good cigar somewhere down south here, south of the Mason-Dixon line. I'm sure I can find a good cigar maker and get me a cigar. And of course, I can get me a nice Scotch rocks, and I can sit outside. I'll do that when I get back to the bunker, and I'll get that set up. This is pretty close to it, minus the cigar and the Scotch. But those were good old days, were they not? Well, those were the pre-SHTF days. No worry about the SAR. No sorries needed, Jolene. Okay, we're just having fun with this. It is, folks. It's a free-for-all Black Friday. And I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I had a nice dinner, lots of turkey, probably too much wine. Too much wine. But I hope you did. I hope you had good fun and clean fun with that. We're going to have some troubles, though. Okay, comments, questions, super chats. I don't care what we've got. Let's just get into it. We got Crack Shot. He says, Ukraine is currently a beta test on the effects on people in a EMP, no electricity scenario. Yes. Yes, it is. And there's kind of a twofer here, in my opinion, with regard to the games they're playing with the Ukraine people. They're putting them into a war scenario. where people accept that things aren't going to be the same and they're not as good, and they have to deal with less. Once again, watch the movie 1984 or read the book 1984, and you'll see that the people living in a continual state of war are worn down. They're beaten down. So what does this mean? It's a beta test. They're seeing how people do. And at the same time, they're getting to blame Russia for all these problems. You see, the United States government in Washington, D.C., the European government, the European Union, the British government, the Secret Services, NATO, which is the North Atlantic Treaty Alliance, they've all decided they wanted to take Ukraine. And they started this little soiree with Russia. And now, yeah, we got a little war going on. Well, yeah, they're seeing how the people react. But look at all the cause they've gotten out of this. Right now, all of Europe is suffering. All of Europe is not going to have enough energy. It means that people are not going to have their own power, their own authority over their own lives to travel, to stay warm. Businesses have been shutting down in Europe, which means people aren't getting money. It means we can have an economic depression. We can have a currency collapse. We can have a debt forgiveness scenario come up. Not for you, of course, folks. Don't get all crazy and think you're going to get to lose all your debt. But major corporations, banks, etc., they can hide all of their corruption and theft. You bet, folks. When the lights go out, that's when the thievery begins. Just think about it. The power's off. Burglars can go crazy because no alarms are going to be sounding, right? Yep, the power goes off in Europe and North America. They just happen to lose records. The same way on 9/11, one of those jets managed to hit the very section of the Pentagon that had, an investigation concluded that they're missing $2.1 trillion unaccounted for money lost. $2.1 trillion. That part of the building just happened to get hit and destroyed all that information. How very interesting. The thievery goes on, folks, when the SHTF hits the fan. And they can cause SHTF to hit the fan, right? Shit hit the fan. They can cause that by starting a little war with Russia, with a little false flag, black swan action out there. All of this, folks, smells to high heaven. Every last bit. On that grand level where they're taking countries out and they're starting wars way up here, to down on our level where they go into a little gay bar and cause some problems and then blame you, Republicans, because, right, you're forcing these lunatics to hurt themselves. And you're causing with your antics and your thinking out there. You're out there thinking and you're causing people to have heart attacks and blood clots and strokes and pulmonary issues and cardiovascular issues and neurological issues. And you, Republicans, are causing the nation and the world, they're losing their fucking minds. So you're causing massive mental problems out there for these other people. Isn't it funny how the leftist lunatics, those who don't seem to have a grasp on reality, isn't it funny how they're the ones with the mental problems? They're the ones who are violent, and you are not. Right? You have these thoughts, you talk about what's really happening, they lose their shit and they start acting violent. Then they turn around and say, we're the violent ones. Right? We're the radical extremists, right?
The right that I pushed hard and it finally got changed, the married couples in the privacy of their bedroom, I'm thinking about the Dobbs decision. Imagine, I'll get to that in a second.
That's right. Yeah. See, they can't think straight, but that's your fault. And that's who these people are, folks, and they don't quit. There's no end to their stupidity. But it's all you. You guys, right? Trump isn't normal. We're all radicals. We're bad. We're causing this.
Because this MAGA crowd is really the most extreme political organization that's existed in American history.
Yeah, we're the most extreme. We're the problem. We cause the problems. Kids out there, they don't feel safe, it's because of guns, not because of government and what it's doing and shutting down power and shutting down oil and shutting down food, shutting down medicine, shutting down hospitals, shutting down schools, shutting down our lives. Yeah, it's Republicans' fault. It's this MAGA crowd. They're the extremists because you and I, we're so powerful we can shut down a country. No, we can't. No, we can't. We can't. We're so unruly that we can't even tell ourselves what to do. All right, let's get to one more of your questions. What do we have out there, Jolene? Man, what do we want to talk about? We've got it's Marie Negri. It says, John, I see that you are squinting. It's bright as hell outside. The sun just started coming through my window and making me sneeze. Your eyes must be blue. The sun is killing me. Well, thank you, Mary. Yes, it's one of those days where the clouds just scatter the light everywhere, making you sneeze. I've had that happen too. I don't know why this is an important topic. Very nice, you notice. Yeah, very blue-eyed and bright lights hurt. I don't want to wear sunglasses though. But back when I was in California, I had a lot of days outside in the winter, especially when I would wear a coat and I'd be squinting and yeah, we'll have to do that again. But the sun is starting to set, and it's setting behind me, and it's a really nice evening here in the South. I got to tell you, it's strange to me, the difference between life today and life the way it was 10 years ago or 20 years ago or 30 years ago in America. I don't know what's going to happen tonight or tomorrow or the next day because these lunatics are really in charge. And the opposition to them, not you and I, the opposition to them in Washington and in Brussels are people who really aren't opposed to them. It's really a uniparty system out there that's in charge. And it cracks me up. Kevin McCarthy, in order to become Speaker of the House, guess what? He's having to kiss the ass of Make America Great Again, America First congressmen, and asking for them to vote for him. Now, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how this plays out, right? Because there is opposition to him. I sure hope they are opposed to him to the degree that we get someone other than McCarthy in. But I still believe that, that's not going to change much. We'll end up with some other fucking rhino, right? How about Marge Taylor Greene? I think that would be one that would just cause heads to explode. And then there's still this idea out there that somehow President Trump is going to become Speaker of the House somehow, some way, somewhere. I don't think the rhinos would like that very much either, and neither would the Democrats. I guess we're going to find out. Let me pick a topic that I want to discuss with you real quick. And we're back. Russia, folks, is passing a law that there will be zero, no, zip, zilch, nada propaganda for the LGBTQI lifestyle. Not for kids nor for adults. It started out as just kids, right? You're not going to expose children to the LGBTQI plus crowd. Now Russia is saying it's not going to be allowed anywhere. And it is thousands of dollars in fines if you do. And there is jail time if you do. And it's quite interesting. Now, what's a few $1,000s if you want to get your message out and start corrupting minds? Well, I think that these LGBTI types would have no problem paying a few $1,000s to get their message out. Look what they're doing in America. How many people are willing to commit election fraud and go to jail and say, it was worth it? It was worth it. We got that way back in 2016. I've been hearing about that in 2018, 2020, 2022, right? That it's worth it as long as they win. They're willing to sacrifice themselves for their cause. In Russia, what do you think happens to someone who is essentially a sex offender when they go to prison, go to jail? They probably get treated just as badly as people in Washington, D.C. in that jail. Yeah, that's right. We have a gulag here, folks. But yeah, over there, they are legislating morality in Russia. Isn't that interesting? They're going to legislate morality. What do you think they're trying to do in America? And I know a lot of people are like, you can't do that. You can't legislate morality. Well, that's exactly what stopping crime is. See, criminal behavior is immoral. Right? We know that. Stealing, molesting children, kidnapping people, right? Forcing people into sexual acts. That's immoral. It's illegal. It's wrong, and it's crime. But they're trying to legislate immorality in America, folks. They'll use free speech as their example to allow themselves to groom children and to push this really sick crap that is destroying our country, folks, and destroying children. Can you imagine right now? Every child who's in school, whether they're age 5 or 15, right? They're not even close to being mature enough to make decisions for themselves. They're having teachers explain to them why it's okay to do what they're doing. And they're promoting the idea using propaganda to encourage what they're doing with these kids. What do you think effect that's going to have on our country in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? Right? It's going to ruin this country if it's allowed to continue. That's why Russia is stopping it. Right? But Russia's bad, Russia's evil, we've been told. What a world, folks. As we go into the holiday season, a time when we usually think very good thoughts, high thoughts, moral thoughts. America's great. We're going into the holiday season, a time of giving, a time of love, a time of caring, a time of reflecting on the year, yada, yada, yada. And what do we get? We're getting more of this shit. All right, let's take a look at what you guys want to discuss as we get into the last quarter of the show. We've got Broke Stacker. He says, laid off in September. Now no one will hire me because they figure I was a bad performer. How do I provide for 3 young ones now? All jobs that I can get are a fraction of what we need, and it's a disaster. I'm very sorry for that, Broke Stacker. Yeah, I see what you're saying, right? If you get laid off now, then people, they carry that opinion. Well, why did you get laid off? It must be bad. I don't know. I'll tell you what. When I left my corporate job, I was told, hey, if you want a reference, you can use us. I said, great, send me a letter of recommendation. I want you to sign a letter stating what a good worker I was, right? And that's kind of what references are about. When you fill out a job application with a new company, you've got references, people who can testify on your behalf that you perform well, that you're a good employee, that you're not a problem. Letters of recommendation. I recommend having those from coworkers. I recommend having them from supervisors, and I recommend having those kind of letters from friends and family. Again, if you've worked in one particular industry for a long time, that's your resume. It speaks volumes. But this is where we're going, right? This is the world they want, where they can say, oh, I'm not going to pay you as well, and I'm not going to give you that job. And they're going to be able to do that because the economy is taking an absolute total dump right now. In fact, I think I saw the word economic depression. Not psychological depression, like all of these poor left-wing people because of you Republicans. No, it's an economic depression coming. Companies are shutting down. I mean, what a great excuse. In Europe, they're going to blame the energy. Wow, we can't afford the energy, so we're shutting this company down. Odds are those companies that are shutting down, folks, were already in big, big, big trouble. So they're using it as an excuse, right? Everything is an excuse. No one wants to tell the truth. Well, you can have a moral society and moral culture and moral government, or you can have one that's immoral. All right, who do you think is going to be in better shape in 10 years? Russia, who isn't allowing their children to be groomed and sacrificed at the altar of left-wing lunacy, or America, that is allowing its children to be sacrificed at the altar of left-wing perversion and lunacy? Right, who's going to be in better shape? Whose workforce is going to be prepared? Whose country is going to be more prone to being respectful of the law and respectful of other people's property? You know, that one over there where you're not allowed to get away with crime, or in America where you're allowed to get away with crimes? Some big fat jackass stripped naked and tried raping a woman in New York City in front of everybody at a subway station. You have people running around in broad daylight assaulting others because they're weak, because they're old, because they can victimize them. Right. We have government arresting people if they arrest them and then just letting them go. Unbelievable what is happening out there. Unbelievable. So you can have an immoral society, and we see where it leads us, right? Black Lives Matter, Antifa, you want to go out there and cause billions of dollars in damage? The mainstream media covers and says, oh, it's a mostly peaceful protest. Makes perfect sense to me. I mean, these fucking people are crazy. I know what rules I would rather live under. I'm not going to move to Russia, trust me. Not a chance of that. I think I'll stick with the South here in America and take my chances. But you can tell where the problems are really going to flare up. That's why I think it's important to be prepared ahead of time, mentally, as well as having food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, and the all-important self-defense. Wasn't it interesting how years ago, if a kid in school pointed his finger, that could be considered a threat? Other kids were scared. That's how bad and how hard they were pushing the anti-gun thing with kids. And now, Joe Biden. That's right, Joe Biden just announced that he is going to get rid of assault weapons in the United States of America. It's going to become his next thing. I think I've got the story right here. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Hang tight. Well, yeah, there it is. Joe Biden is going to get rid of assault weapons. Someone sent me a picture the other day of a hammer with a wooden handle and a hammer with a black skeletonized handle, and one was an assault hammer and one was a regular hammer. I wonder which one hurts worse and does more damage. They all do the same. They want to really get rid of all the guns, folks. They do. They do. But if they've got to start somewhere, so they've got to chisel away, right? If they can get the assault weapons, then they can get your hunting rifles. If they can get the assault weapons, they can get high capacity magazines. If they can get assault rifles, they can get your ammunition away from you. They're doing all they can there, folks, already to try and punish us. They have a big problem with America, this World Economic Forum. They're the Illuminati, folks. That's who they are. It's just they're coming out in the open. They're exposing themselves. They really are about to make a big move. But America is posing a huge problem for them, as much as Russia is posing a huge problem for them. Now, isn't that odd? Isn't that unusual? They can't push Russia around. They can't trick Russia. They can't threaten Russia. They can't fool the Russians into joining their system. Just like in America, they can't convince you to play their game. They can't convince you to give up your rights. Why is that, do you think? Why is it that you won't give up your rights? Because you know the value of them. We're finding out the value of free speech every single day. as they try and take it away. We're fighting back. They want to take your guns away. Every day we start fighting back. We're like, hell no, you're not taking them, right? They want to take your property, steal your property. Well, yeah, in Europe, they're saying you'll have no property. You'll own nothing and you'll like it. Here in America, we have property rights, real estate as well as personal property. And the government's not allowed to take it. They're going to still try to steal it from us. Yeah. We have our rights, every single one of them here in America. And that poses a huge problem to these people. So yeah, let's see, just like other things, they're testing us. I think they blew their wad with cerveza bug and pandemics. I think they blew their wad. They tried it. It worked. They got everyone to go away, but they pushed it and wouldn't let it go. And now people, I don't think, are going to go back under. I know I'm not. They can kiss my ass. I think most of the country is going to tell them to kiss their ass. I'm sure in some cities, right? They'll fall for it again. They'll do as they're told, right? They're trying to put masks back on people in LA. They're trying to force people into taking the Jim Jones juice, even though it's fucking criminal. Are you prepared, folks, for what is going to come next? It's a big question. Are you ready? Do you have all of those items? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Right? Do you have it together? Up here, do you know where you're at in your plan? Because they're going to do something. Yes, they're practicing. They're getting their pieces in position. Right? They now have a pandemic activity plan, a pandemic action plan. They now have an energy plan to take our energy from us. They now have a food program to take our food from us. Right? They have what? They hate our guns. They need to come and get our guns. They have a way to censor us, silence us, free speech. They're shutting down our banking system. They've ruined the currency. You see how I'm going with this? They have everything all set up to just take it all away if they want. And it's not a matter of when we run out of diesel fuel. It's when they want us to run out of diesel fuel and they cause us to run out of diesel fuel. That's when we'll run out. Right? It's when they're good and ready to fuck us over that the real fun begins. And by fun, I mean SHTF. What do you guys want to talk about? Let's get into a couple more before we close this out. And we got Opie Waddell. He says, the prepared mind mother. Oh, there we go. He says, stump you, John. Which is better? A 67 Mustang with no gas or a 2-inch filet mignon with no way to cook it? I tell you what, the 2-inch filet mignon, because even if it's raw, I can still eat it and I can still digest it and still get something of use out of it. But a 67 Mustang with no gas, well, that ain't going to get you anywhere. At least a 2-inch filet mignon will get me down the road. All right. Great question, though. Great question. Yeah. What are you willing to eat? I'm willing to eat a raw steak. I'm not willing to eat steamed bugs. There's a food product out there if you're kind of on the ritzy end of things called tartare, steak tartare. It's basically raw meat, right? People have been eating raw meat a long time. And of course, you want to be very careful. I'm not recommending anyone eat raw meat because it has to be carefully prepared and handled and everything else. And just like sushi, you know, if it goes bad, right, it takes you with it. That's why cooking has always been one of those things that just seems to make sense. Kills all the germs. All right. Thank you, Opie Waddell. Good to hear from you. Opie, always a fine smartass and satirist himself. Moving on. We got another one out there that someone has something. And this looks like, is this a super chat donation? Shit, I can't see. Looks like $1.99. He says, there is but one recourse. There is but one recourse. And I guess that would be action that needs to be taken. And I'm going to guess you mean that we have to take back control of our government. There's only one recourse when governments are out of hand. right? It's right there in the Declaration of Independence for all to see. I recommend reading that Declaration of Independence, not just on July 4th, but year round. It's that important of a document, folks, and it shows us exactly where we are at. We are at 1776 right now. We're there. Our rights are being stomped on. We're being threatened left and right. Government is out of control. Read the Declaration of Independence. People are being used against us. They're lying in court, all those things. There's only one recourse, one solution. But I don't think we're ready for that quite yet. Not quite yet. It's not bad enough yet. We're still too comfortable. We're still too comfortable. And shit hitting the fan, folks, is not an event. It's not a one-day affair. It takes a long time to get into it. It takes a long time to fight our way through it. And it takes years to get out of it. That's why I said this is going to last a decade or more. If you look at your history, people were being hurt by the king long before 1776. And then they fought the Revolutionary War. Let's see, 1776. Let's just say it lasted 4 years. That's 1780. Right? So now we're at 1780. I don't think we had a constitution. Well, we had the Articles of Confederation. Then we didn't have a constitution until, what, 1789? So 76 to 89, and you go a few years before that. Yeah, folks, back then, it was close to 20 years from the time they went, ah, shit, this is really going to get bad. Like 20 years before America started pulling out of it. You know, pulling out of all the trouble and getting some economic stability. But you got to start with good rules, good laws. We got to get rid of the bad politicians. There's a lot of trimming of the tree of liberty that occurs, folks. A lot of trimming so that new branches can grow. All right, what do we got here? We got something here. There's a private chat. I can't see that. Oh, you got one. All right, I am back. I'm here. Folks, it is Black Friday, and this is the Free-for-All Friday. And I want to thank everyone for showing up, for hanging out, for sharing some thoughts and ideas, for sharing a drink. And we're going to be back Sunday night live in full force, full studio. We'll either be in the bunker or Studio B. I can't say which at this time, but we'll be back and we'll have all the topics. We'll be at full strength, and I expect you to be there as well. Because this coming week, folks, they're going to pour it on. They're going to pour on the pain. I think we're going to start seeing some additional discomfort in America coming from the Biden administration. The election is over, right? They've lost the House of Representatives. But Biden says he's going to get rid of assault weapons. Really, buddy? How are you going to do that without a Democrat Congress? You couldn't do it with a Democrat Congress, you jackass. Folks, chance favors the prepared mind. We better get together, talk about it, and find out what is going to happen. So until then, Godspeed, Semper Fi.